So we have Macy and Julian, Abigail and Harry, and then Harry and Macy. Oh, this is driving me nuts. Hi guys, my name is Maria Park, and this is Approach to Nerd. And in this episode, we are reviewing Season 2, Episode 11 of Charmed, entitled Dance Like No One's Watching. This one, a lot happened. And I know I say that a lot, but yeah, a lot happened in this episode. And a lot happens in most of Charmed's episodes, but this one has me shook. So let's just jump right in. So some key points, I'm not gonna go verbatim because if you're watching this video, then that means you've watched the episode. So I'm just gonna tell you what shocked me and has me shook and what I think may be happening. So here we go. Let's start with Macy. Macy is in Aspen, Colorado with Julian, and they have kind of a moment because he has a flashback of when he was a child, and we see that his parents died in a car crash and he's in the back seat screaming for help. He makes a comment that he doesn't understand what happened that night. There's a lot about that night he doesn't understand, which tells me there may be something supernatural to how his parents died or even him. I actually think that he may be in charge of the scientists that are collecting all of the artifacts and have the freaky tattoos. I don't know if he has a tattoo or if maybe he marks all of the people that work with him, all of them are required to get a tattoo. I don't know, but I think Julian is in charge of the freaky scientist people in the weird group with the tattoos. I just do. We got to meet Aunt Vivian. Apparently that's who raised Julian after his parents died, and she is a piece of work. She talks about this machine that she developed that the name just went out of my head. It starts with an A, and it basically allows you to complete a full DNA sequencing in an hour, something that would take 2 to 3 weeks, standardly. And then she kind of not really, it's kind of like a nice, nasty reception of Macy. She didn't act like she didn't like her, but later on in the episode, Macy is going to go to her for help because Harry gets sick in this episode. Mel and him were fighting a malignant demon, and it scratched him, and it caused these black dots, and it turns out he more than likely has a demonic parasite inside of him. And so Mel calls Abigail when she can't reach Macy because Harry wants Abigail to help, probably because she knows everything about demon poison. I mean, she did kind of poison herself last week for attention, so it makes sense. But so Abigail's solution is to give Harry this antidote that will only work if the parasite is in his body. If it doesn't, then the antidote will apparently bond to his cells, his healthy cells, and kill him. And of course, Macy's like, no, that's not gonna happen. So she borrows the machine from Aunt Vivian. But the only way that Aunt Vivian will let her use the machine is if Macy decides to basically not see Julian anymore. She has to dump him, which means that Aunt Vivian has some serious issues when it comes to her nephew. I don't know what's going on there. But yeah. So Macy does. She leaves a breakup voicemail on Julian's phone and then takes the machine back to the command center and starts running the DNA sequencing test. Well, long story short, Jordan and Maggie are in New Orleans, and they're basically tracking the same group of people with the tattoos. And they're doing it under the guise of being in a support group for basically supernatural or the occult, where Jordan's telling his story about being almost killed by the spirit of a dead witch. And there's a guy who just happens to have that tattoo that overhears him and sees this shuriken type, magical shuriken looking item that he has. We're assuming it's magical. He's really interested in it. So he takes a photo on his cell phone of both Jordan and Maggie and invites them to this party at this club. And when they get there, he takes them to this room where the lady from the last episode that was basically about to kill Mel's dad is on a couch waiting to talk to them and asking how much they want for this item. So they are getting relics. They are definitely still interested in magical or interesting relics. But they also, when Maggie and Jordan want to know more about their group, because their group has no name apparently, she offers them this green candy and says, give it this green candy and we'll see if you're worth joining us. And Jordan just takes it. even though Maggie's like, no, we're not doing that. She makes like a little joke saying, well, I'm vegan, so if it has animal byproducts in it, then I can't do it. And he just pops it in his mouth. Well, they go into the club, and everyone who's taken the green candy or had the green drinks, because there were drinks with the green stuff in it, basically starts having their life force drained by this like demon or whatever the heck he is with the staff who has a body in a coffin, and he's ciphering their life force into this guy to bring him back. It's basically a resurrection ceremony. Well, Maggie's not affected because she didn't take the candy. Or she didn't eat or drink anything that had that in it. And another interesting tidbit is that the creature that is doing the resurrection is using a combination of black amber and dark lighter poison. So this group more than likely did resurrect Julian, which is not Julian, sorry, did resurrect Dark Harry. But this is where it gets interesting. So back at the command center, Macy is running the DNA sequencing test in the machine that's supposed to speed it up, and they're waiting for the results when they get a text from Maggie that they need help. Now, it's kind of like a moral dilemma because Macy doesn't really want to leave Abigail with Harry because she doesn't trust her, but Harry says, oh, I do trust her, just go. Well, Macy tells Abigail to promise her that she's not going to administer this antidote that may kill him until the sequencing looks for these specific results, like these cells that are the same ones she found in Parker that basically will say, okay, there's a parasite in you. But the moment they portal out to help Maggie, Abigail flips the machine off and just starts injecting him with the crap, which is interesting. So when they're helping Maggie, Jordan is one of the ones that got drained. So Maggie is basically saying, watch him. And then she just jumps on the stage, beats the crap out of this freaking demon, and then breaks the staff in half. And I kept thinking to myself, why did her sisters need to come? Because Maggie had it under control. She could have just jumped up there and did that to begin with. Now, Jordan was coding. And so they did do this thing where Macy came up with, using the cane or the stick that Maggie uses that has electricity in it as kind of like charge paddles. And then Macy did fire from one side, and then Mel used her Elsa power to ice it on the other side. Yes, I'm going to call it that as long as she keeps doing it. And that pretty much restarts his heart and brings him back. So I guess they needed to be there for the basically being life paddles for him, but they didn't need to be there to stop this demon because Maggie just did it in like 30 seconds. So while they're doing that, and Abigail injects him to the poison or injects him with the antidote, they get back to the command center just in time to see him start seizing. And of course, Macy's like, what did you do? And she looks at the machine. She realizes that she just stopped the machine. But luckily, it does work. He did have the demonic parasite in him, and he comes back to life. So then they have like a little scene where Macy's like, kind of looking at him, and he's looking at Abigail, and it's like he thanks Abigail, and they kind of like help him home. And at the end of the episode, you see that Macy's getting coffee, and Julian's up doing like a quarterly, like, I guess almost like a SWOT analysis for what's going to happen with the business. And he sees her, and he goes up to her, and he's like, you left me a voicemail when you broke up with me. That's not like, doesn't look good on you, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, it was my aunt. She always interferes with my relationships before, and she's doing it again. And then like he's like, well, I will deal with my aunt as long as you can deal with me. And then he kisses her, and of course Harry's watching, and it's just like, ugh. And that was a lot. That is not everything that happened. I'm just going through the basic stuff. So major things. Abigail does have feelings for Harry, even if Abigail potentially just wants to have a baby with him because of the prophecy of how strong their child would be. Like basically it would be another Wyatt from OG. That baby would be like insanely powerful, and she would be the one controlling it. So technically speaking, if that is what's going on, yes. But I actually think Abigail does have a thing for Harry, and that's very interesting. So this is generally in that regard, it really is a triangle. But when he thanked her, he's like, I don't know how I could thank you. Abigail's like, and I'm like, oh, like really? I'm like, they're just really pushing it. So When Harry saw Macy kissing Julian, I think in his mind, he's probably going to be like, I need to let this girl go and move on. And the only person available to move on to is Abigail. So I do see this happening, and it's actually making me a little ill. So just putting that out there. And it doesn't help that Harry does not know this, that Macy slept with Julian. They did it. And I'm just like, wow, our girl has really come a long way from being a virgin to having her first experience with Gavin, and now pulling the guy into her room. She's like, hey, let's go. And I'm like, oh. Oh, this episode, guys. This episode. There's just so much. There's so many directions that this could take. It's weird. And just the fact that Julian is in, safe space, wanted to have an agricultural farming experience from underground where the command center was, where on all purposes, he probably was trying to prospect for Black Amber because he knows it's underneath there. He probably knows that the girls are witches, and he may even understand or know who the charmed ones are, because if Ray, Mel's father, is actually working with them and not actually running, and he actually could be on the run from them, and he was one of them, honestly, then he probably knows all the girls' secrets, because I don't think Ray is new to the fact that they're witches. I think he just didn't want them to know that he knows. That's what I truly believe. But yeah, so I think Julian is definitely over the freaky scientist. I think their father, Ray, is probably or was one of them, and that's why he's on the run. That's how he even knew about them, because they don't seem to be the recruiting type. Because when Maggie and Jordan were trying to join, they basically were like, nah, So how did Ray get in with those people? You know what I mean? Even if he was on the black market, it would make more sense that he actually was part of that group. It's not like they're going to strip search Mel's dad for a tattoo. Just saying, and it could be anywhere. So I don't know. It's just a thought that I had, and it really makes me want to go back to the next episode and see if he does have a tattoo, to be honest. But that's that. I still think something's going on with Swan. I know I bring her up, but she wasn't in this episode, and I missed her because she's in every episode. So I still think something's happening with Swan, for sure. But yeah, another good thing about this episode, something that I did think was a positive, is the fact that they're not rushing the whole Maggie-Jordan relationship, because they look like they're so into each other, but they're still trying to be friends. And I love that, because they just had the friendship thing last week. And normally if you watch CW shows, somebody will make like a huge declaration of love and whatever, and someone's like, I just want to be friends. And then by the next episode, they're in bed. So I love that they're actually taking their time and making them friends first. That is very important. So I hope that they keep that for a little longer before they start smacking around. So just a thought. And then I really want Nico to come back, because Mel, the only purpose she has right now is learning more about her powers and being the potion girl. Even Abigail gives her mother's book for Mel to borrow, because there's a lot of spells from her mother, because her mother was a witch, that could help her figure out how to mix certain ingredients that she didn't think could go together without being fatal or toxic. So, there's that. So I really need her to have more. Because both sisters are getting action and she's getting nothing. She's getting nothing. She had a 5-second thing with Katrina, and then that's gone. And it's Nico's gone. We don't have Jada. Come on. And I really want Nico to come back. And if not, I'll even settle for Jada, because I think they had amazing chemistry. But one of them needs to come back. We need to have one of them in her life, because she needs to have more of a role other than, let's go fight a demon and I'll go make a potion. And oh, look at my Elsa powers. Oh, I can also do this. Yes, I'm sorry. I know I'm using Elsa powers a lot, but the freezing thing looks like it. So it's But yeah, so that is pretty much what happened in the episode. It was a lot. It was a lot of different directions too. And a lot of hasty disturbances, let's put it that way. There are a lot of obstacles, and they're coming up once again for Hasty. And it's because, yes, Harry is being dumb when it comes to Abigail, even though he could just be doing that to keep tabs on her, not because he actually trusts her. It could just be him pretending to, so she'll believe it. If the girls are like, oh, why are you doing this? Then it'll make her believe it too. Or he could actually think she's cool. I don't know. But Macy is 100% at fault about this Hasty stuff being delayed now, because she's being an idiot. So yeah, it's just what it is. But that is my opinion. I would love to know what you think, so please leave me a comment below and let me know. And if you would like to sign up for Jury Duty, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to know who's next on the Nerd Ballot, hit the notification bell. Until next time, I can't wait for you to approach the nerd. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it, but hey, the party doesn't have to stop now. Click on one of these videos and keep it going.